Hey guys, Carolyn Cooper here with another all-natural energy shot. And today, I should say tonight, let's talk about a healing crisis. So people sometimes will ask me after a session, how should I feel after this session? What's going to happen? Well, first of all, let me back up. And the definition of a healing crisis, it's usually used during a physical detox is when people talk about it. It's called the Hertzheimer reaction. And it's when you have like worse symptoms for the first few days of a detox while your body's unloading the toxins and eliminating all the junk. And you may feel really yucky for a few days, sometimes less, sometimes more. So that's where that term came from. But oftentimes people, when they do energy healing work, they wonder if there needs to be a healing crisis. And I have actually heard other practitioners from other modalities tell people you may feel really sluggish, you may have a bunch of emotions come up, watch out for bad dreams, after an energy healing session. So I suppose different methods work different ways. But with the Simply Healed method, it's not like that. When someone releases emotions, things that have been holding them back, any energetic clutter, I like to call it, that it doesn't leave a void that takes time to process. My belief is that it clears immediately while you're in the energy healing session. So the energy releases and clears, and there's no big space and what's going to happen now that's released. Everybody has light. So everybody has their own light, and man, that light is anxious to get back in its spot now that the heavier, lower vibrating energies are moved out and released. And so I think a lot of it depends on the intention of the practitioner and also the intention of the client. I had a woman, one of my students in my class, she'd been to my Simply Healed training course before, and then she'd been back for a few refreshers. And recently she was in a class and she raised her hand and said, Carolyn, I never knew that I could have healing work done without having a crisis for a few days after, without just feeling really terrible for a few days after, and headachy and sluggish and just tired. Until I came to Simply Healed, and I learned that that's not really a thing. It is a thing if you believe it is. If you've been told that, and if you think that that's how it needs to work for you, and you have a belief, and it may just be an unspoken agreement, like maybe somebody said that to you once and you didn't know any different. And so you thought, well, when I have healing work done, yeah, it takes it out of me for the next day or two. I think that's a false belief. You don't have to believe that. You now get to believe, oh, if something came up to be cleared in a session, my body was ready to process this. If your body isn't ready to process certain emotions, certain events, even generational, ancestral things that need to be cleared, they will clear when they're ready. If they don't come up if they're not ready, they're not going to come up to be cleared in a session. If something does come up to be cleared in a session, it's because the wisdom of your spirit knows what it's ready to let go of and what it's not. So if it's ready to let go of it, then trust. I'm ready to let go of this. You can always reaffirm that to yourself by saying, I am now capable of living at this higher vibration. I'm capable of stepping into who I am without that emotional debris that's been there. You don't have to, I don't like to say affirmations with all the negative in there. That's the thought behind it is I'm capable without the emotional debris, but I would leave that off I would make the affirmation more positive. I am capable of living at this higher vibration. I am joyful and happy and comfortable and safe living this higher vibration and living a life of joy and peace. And behind that is now that I've let all this stuff go. But you don't need to keep repeating that. You don't need to add that in an affirmation. So there's my belief on that. I think you don't need to feel terrible after a healing session. I believe everybody should feel great after a healing session. The word I hear the most often from my students and clients is unburdened. Isn't that a great word? I feel so unburdened. I feel lighter. Once in a while, I'll hear people say, I was so excited and I felt so light the day I had my first session. I came in, I felt so good after. I had a hard time sleeping that night because I was excited. So that may be not a great thing, but people are excited and happy about that. And I believe that's how it should be after you have an energy healing session. Okay, I hope that helps you. Keep that in mind. Remember, if you have trouble after, you can always take a bath with Epsom salts. You can drink extra water. You can go out in the sun. You can get a little more rest. But mostly just believe that your body knows what it's doing. Your energy knows what it's doing. It's very intelligent, and it will only bring up what you're ready to process at that time so you can handle it. All right, have a great day. Shine on.